Hey guys, here's a car we haven't seen on the channel before. This is my Audi A4 on the B6 platform. I'm getting some terrible power steering noise, so I'm going to show you how to do a power steering fluid flush the right way. Let's get to it. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm James and welcome to Mostly Helpful. This video is going to be about changing our power steering fluid on this, the A4 on the B6 platform. I said that earlier. First thing to note is you're going to need some new power steering fluid. I've gone straight to my local dealer and got the genuine VAG stuff. I've got 2 litres, capacity 1.5 I'm told. I've read a couple of reviews online already about how to do this. In the UK that's coming in at about £13.5 each, so £26-27. The next thing you're going to need is 2 metres of clear tubing. I've bought this online, surprisingly hard to buy in the high street. No high street left in the UK, right? And then I've also got a brass fitting which will enable the connection of this pipe to go into the power steering return pipe, which is what we're going to be looking at. Again, bought online. I'll put links in the description below. So those are the things we need, plus some basic DIY tools. This is the 3 litre unit, not that common in the UK. The 1.8 turbo, much more common, takes a little less fluid. Do check your volumes. I think it's more like 1 litre rather than 2, but the principle is the same. We're going into the back of the power steering fluid reservoir, we're tapping into the return feed, and we're going to get all that old fluid pumped out and then new fluid in. Let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this cover, which covers the power steering fluid reservoir, and for that you're going to need a T30 Torx bit. Let's get that undone because there is one bolt here that is holding it in. That up there, and then this cover should then just lift out like this. There we go. So one Torx fitting at the front and one interference fit bung at the back, and then that cover is off. Today I'm going to be using this torch. You might recognise this, those of you who are my subscribers. Shout out to you guys, actually I've just hit 100 subscribers, so thank you very much. This is that torch that I upgraded with the LED bulb, so just a very generic torch which is proving really handy doing stuff in the garage. It's also a good opportunity then to have a look at the condition of the fluid in the reservoir. Let's have a look. So we're on max, that's very good, but looking in here, this fluid is very brown, and based on the lackluster approach to maintenance of the previous owner, I'm confident it's not been changed. So that should be a nice green colour, and it's a sort of pretty hideous brown. The fact that the fluid hasn't been changed in 18 years is a reason why this power steering pump is making a terrible noise. Interestingly though, it is only really happening when the car gets warm, so when you're moving it around the garage, as you maybe heard earlier, it isn't too bad, but when it gets up to temperature, that's when it really starts to make a noise. Just bringing you in a little closer here. Here is the 2 pipes that we need to refer to. So this one here is our return pipe, and that is the one that we need to tap into. All of the write-ups talk about removing this reservoir, swinging it out of the way so we can get a bit of a better access to that pipe. This bigger pipe, which is the flow pipe, we don't need to deal with today. So just that return pipe need to get to. The plan here is to remove these electrical connectors, move the lamp unit forward slightly, and that should give access to be able to rotate this reservoir out, access that pipe, and then move on to the next stage. With that headlamp removed, 4 bolts, 2 in the top, 2 in the back. In theory, you've got a bit of room to then remove this reservoir around. Actually though, despite undoing it at the top, I can't release it from the bottom. But it doesn't matter, because on this particular car at least, if I get the torch down here, you can see I've managed to remove the pipe. I've bunged it with a centre punch to stop the fluid coming out, and then I've got this here, which is the return pipe, to which we can then connect this. So get that plugged in, and then we can do the proper process of flushing out this fluid. So far then, I have put the car up on jacks. I'm not using axle stands because I'm not intending to get under the car, but as you can see, we're just ever so slightly off the ground in both places. There's a little bit of spillage there from earlier. And then I've connected this tube. I just tested the wheel. You can see that some fluid's already coming out. So the theory here is that we rotate the wheels left to right without the engine on, and that movement should pump out all of this dirty fluid out of this pipe all the way down here into my kind of container here that's spare. And then we'll keep topping up to the reservoir and gradually effectively replace all of the fluid through the system, because it comes through the reservoir into the rack, through the cooler, and then out this way, and all the dirty fluid comes out to be replaced with clean. I've just taped up that come on, focus, here we go. Just tape that up just to make sure that that centre punch doesn't pop out. People do talk about using a golf tee. I had one. It's clearly not the right size because that slipped out, but it might work for you if you've got slightly bigger golf tees. So let me start filling up the fluid and get this old stuff pumping out. Oh yes. Ugh, very dirty. In terms of number of turns, all I'm really doing is going 3 times. I'm going to the left, to the right. It's quite a quick rack on this. Doesn't feel like it's got many turns lock to lock. Second time, back to the right, and then I'm just centering it up, so sort of 2.5 goes. I'm not sure if you can see, but this now looks quite coming out green, and this fluid here looks really nice and clean and clear, unlike the fluid that was coming out originally. So if we do that, you can see it's nice and clear, and that little green colour to it. So one more fill up, I think, and then we should be good. So there we go, guys. That fluid just going back there. That's the last fill up I've done. I've got just over 500ml left, which I'll use in case there's any issues when I fire up the engine, get any air bubbles, or I need to top off the reservoir. Each time I'm doing that 2.5 turns on the steering wheel, I'm losing about 200ml of fluid through the reservoir. So each time you're filling up, it's about 200ml of a fill. So just having a look down here, let me show you. This is the one that we just took off. That's now back on, the clip's back on. I'd undone this reservoir here, so I've got 2 10mm bolts to go back in. As I said earlier, even though I've pulled this light out, and the idea was that this reservoir would come through, I haven't been able to do it, but you don't, that's been absolutely fine to do. A little bit fiddly with this clip, but otherwise okay. Just put a rag down here to capture all the power steering fluid that inevitably leaks out when you swap over the hoses. Hopefully haven't lost too much, and now just need to top that up. So let's put all that together, get that engine started. So, all good. Sounds great, no leaks. Fantastic. With the engine off, final check then is just to measure the level. I'd expect a little bit of air to bubble out over the next couple of miles, or the first couple of miles of use. And there we go. Perfect on the max, just there. Very happy with that. just by way of confirmation, let me just show you the residual fluid that's drained down into this pipe. As you can see, this was literally, I pulled it out of the car, and there we go, lovely green colour. So I'm confident we've got all of that dirty fluid out. Brilliant. So there we are, all done, nice easy fix. Going to take that out for a drive, hopefully get rid of any final bit of air in the system, and that will be sweet. Just a reminder then, you could always, everyone talks about using a turkey baster to do this job. I didn't want to do that, but I think that's a perfectly good way of replacing the fluid. Takes a bit longer, perhaps you don't get it all out of the rack. This way, I think you because we're using the steering to get that fluid out, it comes out of the whole part of the system. I think it's that little bit better, a little bit more belts and braces. So good to have done that. As always guys, thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope that's helpful. If you think there's something I've missed, let me know. If you think this is great, also let me know. And if you've liked this video, do press that like button. And if you like this kind of content and you want to see more, then do, if you aren't already, become a subscriber. Thank you very much, and I will look forward to coming to you in the next one. Cheers and goodbye.